Hello and welcome to the Middle-earth Play-by-Mail fan channel. What I'm wanting to look at today are challenges between two characters. I don't mean ordinary challenges like who can eat the most pies, but proper physical martial challenges where they fight each other until one of them is dead. Now we all like a good challenge, but in a film we can think of things such as Eowyn fighting against the Nazgul. Or maybe Boromir fighting against that orc with the bow. They're all great moments in any fantasy tale, and they do very much shape what happens in the tale, because usually by the end of a challenge a major character has had to bow out, and that reshapes how things are going to work going forward. Now, there are two order numbers relating to challenges in Middle-earth Play-by-Mail. Order number 210, Issue Personal Challenge, and Order 215, Refuse Personal Challenge. If you issue an order of 210 against another character, provided that character is actually present in the same hex, and provided that they are able to be challenged, for example, they're not an army commander when the character issuing the challenge isn't in an army, then a challenge will take place. Unless, of course, the target of that challenge is a bit of a coward and has issued 215 refuse personal challenges because they quite like being alive and don't want to die. If a challenge does take place, it will continue until one of the characters is dead. The way in which it works is all spelled out in the rulebook, but I'm going to go through it very briefly here just as a reminder. There are two main factors that involve a challenge. The first one are the challenge ranks of the two characters involved, and the second is their health stat, a number which rates from 0 to 100, 100 being fully healthy, and all characters start at rank 100 within the game, although they can have it chipped away and then have to have it heal as time goes on. And 0 is when they're dead, and that is irrevocable. Challenge rank is worked out from the four main statistics that a character has across command, agent, emissary and mage. Now, some of these statistics give more challenge rank than others. Your command and mage rank can give 100% of the amount that you have there. You will get 75% of your agent rank added onto your challenge bonus, or 50% of your emissary bonus, because diplomats aren't as good in a fight as a mage or a warrior. Now, if you're a multi-classed character, you don't get all of those stats added up together. You take whichever gives you the most bonus to your challenge rank, and you get all of that, and then the challenge rank which would accrue from any multi-class numbers you have across any other ranks, and you get 25% of that. So if you can imagine you have a commander rank 50, mage rank 40, a sort of warlock character, you would get 50 points from your command rank, and then your mage rank would normally apply 40 points, so you get a quarter of that, so that's an extra 10. 50 plus 10 equals a command rank of 60. The other thing which boosts command rank are any combat artifacts you have, in which you get 250, every plus 250 of the combat artifact gives you an extra 5 command rank. So even a bog standard, fairly lowly 500 plus 500 combat artifact will increase your challenge rank by 10. And that's actually a big deal, which I will come on to in a moment when I talk about the outcomes you can expect. And I've done a lot of stats and number crunching. However, the way in which the mechanics of the fight then work are quite straightforward. Both characters have a random number from 1 to 100 generated. That is added to their command rank, and the two are then compared. The difference between the two, so let's say you've got two people, equal command rank of 50 each, one of them rolls 70, one of them rolls 50. You add it all together, one of them's got 120, the other one's got 100. So the one who's won by 20 points That is then the potential damage they cause to their opponent. So you randomly pick a number between 1 and 20, and that is the amount of health damage inflicted on their opponent. The system then checks whether the opponent is down to 0 health and dead, and if they're not, it does another round. And it keeps doing that until one of them actually dies. I should stress there is a little extra twist in the mechanics in that there is the open-ended dice roll, which I've spoken about before, which is if you roll particularly high, between 96 and 100, you roll an extra D100 and you add that onto your special bonus. So let's say your opponent and yourself both have an equal rank, say command rank of 50 again, and your opponent rolls 50, so taking them up to a total of 100, but you roll 100, taking you to 150, and then you roll an extra D100, an extra bonus. Let's say you roll 50, that takes you up to 200, so now you will score between 1 and 100 damage to them. You could take them out in one shot. You can also have a critical fumble. So if you, in your first dice roll, you roll between a 1 and a 5, you still get that 1 to 5 added to your challenge rank. It's not much, but take what you can. But because of your fumble, your opponent gets the bonus of an extra D100 added onto theirs. And if you roll a critical success between 96 and 100, and your opponent has a critical fumble between 1 and 5, you get the extra D100 added on for your critical success, and an extra D100 added on for their critical fumble. And it's in extreme incidences of this, there's only a 1 in 20 chance of a critical success and of a critical fumble. So in one round in 20 times 20, 400, you will get this huge swing in favour of one participant, and then that's when you get even the most humble of hobbits armed with just some dagger they've pulled out from somewhere, stabbing the Witch King of Angmar in the back of the leg and pulling off an absolute blinder. So they're the mechanics. That's how challenge ranks worked out. All of this is in the rulebook, you know that. But what are the actual chances of two characters going up against each other and one character winning over another? Well, it is possible, and I've done it for the purposes of this video, to work out an incredibly big, complicated spreadsheet which models the combats going through round by round, and then you can set it up so that you can put in the effects of varying the challenge rank of the competitors and also varying their starting health. And then you can set the spreadsheet up so that you can run a good 5 or 10,000 combats with those parameters, and you can work out a broad percentage chance of what the outcome is going to be. Now, obviously, if you have two characters with equal stats in all regards, so their challenge rank are equal and also their health is equal, then it's an exact 50-50 chance of one winning or the other. But let's assume that we keep health starting at 100 for both, but one has a 5-point difference in their challenge rank. Suddenly, just those 5 points of challenge rank gives you a 60-40 chance of winning. If there is a 10-point advantage to a competitor in a combat, just in their challenge rank, and health is otherwise equal, then it is a 69% chance of winning, a 31% chance of losing. Now note that a 10-point difference is what you will gain, with all other things remaining equal, just by your character having that lowly, rubbishy, plus 500-point combat artifact that they've been dragging around since the start of the game. I really think this is where combat artifacts are their most useful. They will have a small effect on the outcome of actual army combat, but in challenges, just a 10-point difference can give you a plus 19% chance in actually winning. If you have a 20-point difference, suddenly you're getting to that sweet spot of 82% chance of winning, 18% chance of losing. So even a relatively small difference in combat, in challenge rank, does get you to that point where you're going to win more often than not. A 30-point difference, then you have a 90% chance of winning. You can be fairly sure you're going to win, and you'll be very unlucky if you don't. A 40% difference in rank, of challenge rank, suddenly you're going to win 94% of the time, and every 10 points from there bestows only a small added bonus, because there's not much left to actually gain in terms of win rank when you're already at 94%. So at 50 points of difference, you will win 97% of the time, assuming you both start with equal health. Now, the effect of health is less pronounced, particularly if you've only lost a small amount of health. So again, I ran through the algorithm, what would happen if you assume that the challenge rank between two contenders is exactly the same. When their health starts at the same, again, it's going to be 50-50. However, if one of them starts with a 10-point reduction in health, so they start at 90 health, it's still fairly close. It only gives a 3% advantage to the full health competitor. So it's 53-47 in favour of the one in full health. If you take one of the injured person down to a starting point of 80, so there's a 20-point difference in health, then it's about 59-41 in favour of the person on 100 health. At 30 points difference, we're looking at 63-37%. Now, if you're starting out, or challenge rank remaining equal, someone on 100% health, but the other one, they're halfway through the health, they're at 50%. At that point, it's a 72% chance that the full health character will win, 28% chance that the injured character will win. Now that split, 72-28, isn't too far off the 69-31 split of a 10-point difference in challenge rank. So you can see how, all other things remaining equal, just having a plus 500 combat artifact is the equivalent in an equal fight of your opponent taking 50 points of damage. It's that significant. Just to finish off some of the numbers, a 70% difference in health, so one character starting out just on 30 points of health, really badly injured, it's an 80-20 advantage to the one who's at full health. And at 90 points, so someone on 100 health and someone on just 10 points of health, it's an 89% in favour of the fully healthy character. So if you're going into a combat and your character's a bit injured, 10 or 20 points of damage, don't worry about that too much. If you're going to have a slight challenge rank advantage on them, even a 30 or a 50 point loss in health can easily be overcome. And I worked out, if you have a character starting out with just 10 points of health against someone who is fully healthy, in order for that fight to be a 50-50 evens chance of there being an outcome of one or the other dying, then a 34-point challenge rank advantage in favour of the one who is already injured brings it back to a 50-50 chance. So it just shows how much, just a few points, 5, 10, 15 points of challenge rank really makes a difference to the outcome of challenges. And so it once again underlines the importance where you can here and there, particularly with commanders and particularly with mages, just putting in an order to help train them up, help increase those ranks, nurture even your low-level characters, because an extra 5 or 10 points, which is just a couple of apprentice magery orders at the very low level, they can really make that difference of a good 10 or 15, 20, 30% difference of improving your chances of winning a combat. Now, obviously, there are strategic uses of challenges. You can use challenges as a way of getting rid of useless characters early on instead of retiring them. Let's say you've got a character who's like a rank 10 emissary, rank 20 mage. You don't want them. You want to free up a character slot long term. You can just move them to where there's an absolute big beast of a character somewhere else in the game, one of your allies, and it's a way of training up one of their characters who will win that combat without their character actually having to issue any orders. They'll just receive a challenge, they'll kill the very low weak character, and they get an automatic boost. There is always that tiny sliver of 1, 2, maybe 3% chance that the character will lose, and you have to apologise as your lowly emissary agent or whatever it is has gone and killed a Nazgul, but you know, that's the risk you take. The other really important thing with challenges is it denies your opponent character actions if they're wanting to refuse challenges. If they know that they're facing a significant threat from challenge, which they have a good chance of losing, they will be sensible and they will refuse to challenge. Now, as characters, unless you're using the champion rules, as characters can only have 2 orders per turn. If one of them is taken up by basically refusing to do something, it means they only have 1 order left. Normally characters will do a useful character order, like issuing an army to charge, or stealing something, or building a new camp, and they'll issue a move order so they can go and do something useful somewhere else. So straight away they can either do their useful character order or they can move, but not both if they're refusing a challenge. So challenges, or the threat of challenges, is a very good way of slowing your opponents down. It's one reason why it's very useful to have several backup commanders if you're on a really important military raid into enemy territory where you're wanting to hit one population centre, destroy it, move on to the next, destroy it and move on. If you're coming up against armies that are weaker than you, but they've got strong characters that can challenge your commander, the temptation is always there to go, well, I'll refuse challenges and I will capture the population centre this turn, and next turn I will move, and the turn after that I'll attack the population centre and I'll refuse challenges again. It just makes your army move so much more slowly, and it's so much easier for agents and curse squads to move in and to really nail that army. So the only way around that is to accept you're going to have attrition of characters from challenges and have several characters within one army all issue the orders to capture the population centre and to move the army. And if the commander gets challenged and killed, well, the backup will do it and you'll keep that momentum going forward. Just one of the interesting things that you have to consider. Army commanders, of course, just a short mention of them before I sign off. You can only challenge an army commander if you are in an army facing them. This is to stop a defence against armies being just one lone Nazgul or powerful Gondorian commander walking up and just slotting the hero opposing the enemy army and just wiping out the whole army as it happens. So as a result, it can be a strategy to put a very powerful challenger and hide them within the army. Don't have them as the army commander whose name will be known. Just have them sitting out in the back. And then when the two armies line up to fight each other and their commander's thinking, well, the opposition's only led by a veteran, let's not worry about him. And suddenly some great mage wanders out and says, oh, you forgot to refuse challenges? All right then, let's have a go. And before you know it, you've gone and slotted and destroyed one of their characters. Right, well, I think that's about everything I want to say on challenges. I hope wherever you are, you're having a good time, and I hope you're enjoying the game, however you're participating in it. All the best. Bye now.